Hello, my crafty friends. It's Marie from Marie's Vermont Creations, and today I am making a card for part of a hop, and I am using the Simon Says Stamp Beautiful Flowers stamp set, these distress inks in the mini cubes, my Brutus Monroe white embossing powder with my Versamark, and my anti-static powder tool. So I'm going to take a piece of watercolor paper from my stash, and I'm going to put this in my large Misty and treat it with the anti-static powder tool. And then I'm going to use the large floral image because this is part of a hop, and it's for the year-long card hop. We do a different hop every month with a technique and a theme, and it was your favorite stamp and ink dragging, or ink swiping, excuse me, was what I chose. So I am going to heat emboss this image using the white embossing powder. I absolutely love this stamp set. I think it was the very first Simon Says Stamp card kit I ever purchased, and as you can see, it is a very well loved stamp. So I am going to ink this up twice. I only show you once, but I did ink it up twice just to make sure I got a good impression since I was stamping on watercolor paper. So I'm just going to close the door, and I am using a dry eraser just to help me glide across the top of my Misty. And so once I get that with a good impression, I am going to just take this out, use my Brutus Monroe Alabaster white embossing powder and a coffee filter to catch that, and then off screen I do heat emboss that using my heat gun. And you just want to make sure that it goes from this dull grainy that you can see here until it's smooth and shiny. And white on white tends to be a little harder to do, but if you tilt it in the light, then you can see if there's any areas that you missed. So I'm going to start with my yellow, which is fossilized amber, after I dust off the excess powder bag. And I was going to originally go down the center, which is what you can see me hesitate doing, and then I'm counting out, can I fit all of the colors if I go the long way? So that's what I decided to do. I'm going to do the fossilized amber in the middle, then I'm going to do festive berries at the top, followed by carved pumpkin. Now, I have seen videos of people doing this with using re-inkers and like a gift card, the side of a gift card to be able to do that. I like the direct-to-paper approach. This green color is mowed lawn, and then I did miscalculate and run out of room for the purple, so the bottom will be the blue, which is Blueprint Sketch. And I didn't like how streaky it was. If that's your style and you like it, you could leave it just as it is right here, but I am shaking up some Perfect Pearl powder that I have made up in just a little mister bottle, and I was originally going to spray it on my glass media mat, which is fine, but I was recently chatting with some crafty friends, and I've realized I have this Perfect Pearl powder all over the mount to my camera, my desk, everywhere, so I am going to actually put it in my splatter box and just put a liberal coating of it all over this panel, because these are distress inks, so they will reactivate with any sort of liquid. So then I'm just going to take a dry paintbrush and kind of smooth out the areas that still looked a little bit splotchy to me. I wanted them to blend in a little bit more, but I didn't want them to mix together necessarily, because some of these colors I would end up with a very brown looking ink, and that's just not pretty. So once I get that smoothed out the way that I want it, I'm just going to take a dry piece of tissue and dab up the wet ink that's sitting on top of the white heat emboss, because it's not going to absorb in there. So I'm just going to clean that up, set this aside to dry a little bit, clean up my mess. And then because I missed the purple, I am going to use my Slimline card base, and I'm going to take the Seedless Preserves Distress ink and just direct to the paper, swipe it around the outside so that that will show through my panel on the actual card base. You can do this with all sorts of things, paints, inks, whatever you want. If you don't want to use, instead of layering cardstock, you can make it look like you have one with just your inks by coloring on your base. So here's what it's going to look like. I'm going to take some art glitter glue, and I'm going to glue that panel down. And then the sentiment that I'm going to stamp out is Love and Hugs, which is from that same Beautiful Flower stamp set. I decided to just go with the one stamp set. So I'm going to stamp that on a scrap of the same watercolor paper that I'm using, and I ended up pulling out Kitsch Flamingo just to bring in some pink, just to make it all the way through the rainbow. And I'm going to adhere that down using just some double-sided adhesive, or not double-sided adhesive, excuse me, so just some tape runner from my stash, and that's going to complete the card. So like I said, this is part of a hop, so the next person that's in the hop is going to be listed down below in my description, and I hope that you will check out everyone's projects, because every month everyone amazes me on what they create and come up with the different themes and techniques. Everyone has their own take on it, and that's the part that I absolutely love about these hops. I know I say that every month, but it's very true. So this card will go in my collection. That will go to the donation to the Real Mama Bears that I will send to the LGBTQ plus teens that have been less than received by their family. So these are what these cards are for. So I like to build up my stash so that I can have a good amount to send out to them. So I hope that you enjoyed today's project. And as always, I hope that everyone has a great day.